Dominic Godfrey's been speaking to some of those involved.
Rotary Rarotonga handed over the keys of the mobile health clinic, Karenga Ora, to the Cook's Ministry of Health for the ceremony last Monday. Local and foreign dignitaries were there, including Rotary members, diplomats, traditional leaders and politicians. Rotary President Mark Boyd says the ceremony failed some surprises at the recent general elections.
That was handed over to the Honourable Mandy Glassy, who's our Minister of Health here in the Cook Islands. He made a bit of a joke that he might have to reapply as a driver for the bus, since he may not have a job in the near future.
And now caretaker Minister of Health lost his seat, but not his humour, and acknowledged the contribution of others.
It was President Hurley who pushed for the initiative to go ahead, along with Nick, former Archbishop of New Zealand here in the Cook Islands. So it was her idea, and she was also highlighted and acknowledged for her contribution in this whole project.
Christine Hurley got involved before leaving the Cook Islands in late 2016, and her husband Nick says it was through Rotary she got in touch with Paul Snellgrove,
who owns Transit New Zealand Bus Company, and he said, "What do you think about me offering a bus? We've got a school bus, we could maybe convert it into a mobile health clinic."
Paul Snellgrove didn't just donate the bus, but provided his workshop staff at a cut rate. In April last year, he visited the Rarotonga with fellow Masterton South Rotary members David Baker and Rob Irwin. Mr Snellgrove says David Baker's expertise is communications and fundraising.
We look for international funding through Rotary International out of the States. So he was involved in all that. I looked after the bus and the building of the bus, and I looked after all the medical side. So there was three of us, and it was an awesome team.
Rob Irwin is a retired surgeon and a member of the Wairarapa District Health Board, which donated medical equipment for the bus. The trio worked with the Cook Islands Health Ministry in developing the scope of the project, deciding what needed to be included. The ministry's Karen Ta'irea provided coordination from a government perspective.
It wondered what the topic was, what in particular we were discussing. We'd rope in other health staff that have more knowledge and experience in those areas. So with the clinical side, we had our public health nurses, because they would be the main users of the bus. So they were able to say what equipment they needed.
She says the hospital health services also contributed, as the bus would be used for health drives, including blood donations and cervical cancer screening. The retired diplomat, Nick Hurley, says the brief was agreed a year ago and work began on converting the bus.
They used a number of specialists for things like making it able to be used in times of natural disasters, so it could operate 3 days without any external power with air conditioning, or 5 days without. It operate with having refrigerated space in there, able to service people who might be needing urgent attention.
Dr. Irwin's donated electronic heart monitor and centrifuge for blood testing can still be used in times of outage, including natural disaster. Battery banks on board the bus are topped up with solar power cells on the roof. With the public health nurses trained to drive the bus, Karenga Ora will take healthcare to where it's needed and is equipped to do so in a variety of conditions. Work to get the bus to specification beyond the donated equipment cost an estimated US $110,000. It's the first of its type for the region, and other countries are watching on. Chris Hurley says Rotary are always looking for ways they can help, particularly in the Pacific. This is Dominic Godfrey.
China is taking up a lot of the Australian Broadcasting Corporation's former shortwave radio frequencies into the Pacific. In response to budget cuts, the ABC last year cut shortwave broadcasting in the Asia-Pacific region ahead of a planned transition to FM transmission. Since that withdrawal, frequencies on which Pacific Islanders listened to the ABC for many years are being filled up by China Radio International. Radio New Zealand Pacific has forced steep broadcasting to the region on shortwave. Its technical manager Adrian Stainsforth spoke to me about the Chinese shortwave foray into the Pacific.
Now, on the international broadcast bands, which is what we use for broadcasting from New Zealand, for example, into the Pacific Islands, these frequencies can be used by anyone, but there is a coordination system, and people register them with the ITU, which is the International Telecommunications Union in Geneva, to prevent communications from colliding. So you don't want two international broadcasts on the same channel. So people over time, like the BBC and so on, establish themselves on certain frequencies. And these go on for year after year after year. Now what's happened in this instance is with RA closing, their frequencies become thin. And it coincides with China Radio International wanting to expand its services into the South Pacific. This has been a plan for some time. And to me, it seems to be a strategic move on their part. By starting to use RA's frequencies, they inherit an audience, in the sense that people have got used to over time that RA is on those frequencies. If suddenly another English language station starts up on it, they'll listen to that. That could be RA. And it's only after listening for a while you suddenly realise, oh, this is not Radio Australia, this is a station that's talking about China quite a bit. What's happening?
How big is the spectrum, as it were, or how crowded is it? How many of these former frequencies of the ABCs are being taken up, do you know?
I can't answer that. All I know is that in the past, RA were using quite a few frequencies covering not only South Pacific, but also up into Papua New Guinea in that area, and into Asia. What I do find interesting is that China Radio, in its expansion, is doing not only on shortwave, but they do it on domestic. You'll find on Freeview Television, you'll find China Radio International in most capital cities around the world.
They have an English
Oh,
service.
yes, and it sounds very English. They've got American accents, they've got British accents, so it's very easy to confuse them with a Western station.
Do we know what kind of programs and content will be on these frequencies going out to the Pacific Islands?
Yeah, usually the program content is promoting Chinese, talking about all the aid they give overseas and all the good things that they do. They don't broadcast anything that's critical of their own country. It's very, very carefully controlled.
Is not the journalism or news about islands, for instance, like RA or RZ?
Until it really starts, I don't think anybody can judge that, but I would imagine that they're bound to want to target different parts of the Pacific, and it would be sensible for them to put some local news in about it. Whether they do that or not, I can't answer that. I haven't listened to them. But generally speaking, having listened to what I've heard up until now, it's generally promoting Chinese, saying, we give aid, we do all these things around the Pacific. There'll be news items about what hydro schemes they might have built or whatever they might be doing on a local scale within the area that they're broadcasting to. Because it's, as I say, it's a multi-base. It's a very big company, China Radio. They have very powerful transmitters. The shortwave ones are all 500 kilowatts, which is a lot of power. It's 5 times what Radio New Zealand uses.
So that means it can project further.
And they're stronger and clearer and easier to hear. So, yes, it's a big thing. And as I say, with all the expansion within the South Pacific, if you go to any of the Pacific Islands, you'll see Chinese are investing heavily in buildings and other things. It's only natural, I think, that they follow it up with radio coverage as well.
You've been around the region looking at this kind of stuff for a long time. How important is shortwave radio, or how much of an influence can it have among those communities?
Shortwave is still quite important in the Pacific Islands, and that's because it's the one way a lot of people can get international coverage. But the local FM stations have limited resources usually, and that's why Radio New Zealand's quite important in the area, because a lot of local stations go to us for news, because they have small staff and lack of people to do all that work. So it's hard to know how many people would listen to them, to be honest, but there are more shortwave radios probably per head of population in the Pacific Islands than you'll find anywhere else, because in more first world countries like Australia or New Zealand, everyone has their local FM stations which provide all the coverage they want. They've got all the television channels they want. When you go to a remote Pacific island, that's not the case. You might be lucky to have 1 or 2 stations and a limited television service.
It's not too late for Australia if they wanted to get back into the shortwave game to do so, but it's too late with some of the frequencies which they were able to make theirs.
Yes, so if RA chose to come back on the air again, they'd have to carefully have a listen to see which channels are still free. And they may find that some of the ones they used to use have been used up and they've already been occupied. But the spectrum is quite wide. There's plenty of room for everybody. You could say that the Chinese are using an awful lot of airspace. A lot of the spectrum is being used by the Chinese. They spend a lot of time on it, not only, as say, on shortwave, but they do it on AM as well. They get relay points in different countries. They're making their services available all over the world. I think what is worth mentioning is China radio opening up all through the Western Hemisphere, if you want to call it that. Whereas if you live in China, you won't be much in the way of foreign transmissions. In fact, shortwave transmitters beamed to China in Mandarin by the BBC or by Voice of America are heavily jammed. The Chinese basically are only interested in positive news about their country, not free journalism.
That's Radio New Zealand Pacific's Technical Manager Adrian Sainsbury, who recognised this edition of Dateline Pacific. Thanks